Hi, everybody. Steve Hallstrom and Scott Hennon here. This is our Day 2 wrap from the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It has been a very full day, but what a fun day we have had here today. And we are very thankful to be able to be here because of some great sponsors who are making this trip possible. We want to say thanks to Brighter Future Alliance. We also want to say thanks to North Dakota Lignite Coal. And we want to say thank you as well to the North Dakota Republican Party for sponsoring our trip here to Milwaukee. So, Scott, let's kind of go back and forth, maybe three best takeaways from today. I'll let you start. What was your top takeaway from today?
A conversation with Lee Greenwood, pretty special because he was part of that iconic moment last night that I don't know is ever going to be repeated in our lifetime in any political sense. When Donald Trump walked in the arena and America got their first look at him since the assassination attempt, and Lee Greenwood brought us inside the stagecraft of all of that, and how awesome it was for him to do God Bless the USA live for President Trump in that moment, talked about the roar of the crowd and everything else. That was probably my top headline from today and the interview on the show, but there were many.
My top headline from today was our conversation we had with North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, who is in good spirits after we learned along with him yesterday that J.D. Vance, the Ohio senator, was going to be the vice presidential pick. But Doug was in great spirits today. Scott and I had a chance to visit with him earlier, and I thought the takeaway there was the story he told about when he got the call from President Trump. And he said, "Mr. Secretary," and at that point Doug said, "I kind of knew that it wasn't going to happen." But when we talk about secretary, Scott, one interesting storyline there is that we don't know secretary of what. It sounds like he's going to be offered a position, but it might not be your typical cabinet position the way it's been done in politics for years and years.
Yeah, there was some reporting on this. Actually, I give Brian Kilmeade the hat tip on this from Fox and Friends, but when I interviewed him yesterday, he said, "I think you'll see Doug Burgum as Secretary of Interior and Energy." And I said, "You mean interior or you mean energy?" He said, "Both." And I said, "What?" And as you saw, Governor Burgum did not flinch when I brought that up. I mean, he immediately went into a kind of a whole of government approach where something like that is being contemplated. And again, there are a lot of parallels between what Interior does in the way of energy development, especially the Bureau of Land Management, controls all the federal minerals on federal lands, and energy is obviously unleashing American energy. So I think we got a bit of a scoop there out of Governor Burgum that is actually being discussed.
Okay, so takeaway number two. Scott, what would you start with your number two takeaway from the day?
There's so many, it's so hard, and the Make America Safe Again speakers, I think, on the stage would probably be number two. Again, some people that I love these everyday American stories, and they've strategically put them in the primetime hour when all the networks are taking it. They're not putting their big names up like Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and all those big names. Marco's actually one of the closers tonight along with Laura Trump. But those everyday Americans are every bit the stars of all these people that are the who's who of the Republican Party. And I think that talks to people who they don't know Republican, they don't know Democrat, maybe they haven't voted before or whatever, but they get it. They don't feel safe, right? Last night it was all about making America wealthy again. These people told incredible stories about how many hardships have come from the Biden administration. So I think those stories are pretty powerful.
My number two takeaway is just the optimism and joy that we get to see from people here. I don't know, when I watch CNN or MSNBC or those kind of places, I just feel like there's an anger and a bitterness and just kind of a dark side. We visited today with a handful of people, and they just have a glow about them, a joy in their heart. Had a chance to visit with Janiyah Thomas, who's a member of the Black Affairs, the head of Black Affairs for the Trump campaign. Caroline Sunshine, who's a deputy communications director for the Trump campaign. Lee Greenwood as well. You talk to them, they got a joy in their heart. There's an optimism about the days ahead that I think makes the people on the conservative side special. There just seems to be something optimistic future. There's some hope there. And a lot of them, when we talk to them, because they've got a little Jesus in their heart too. So that was fun. So we see a little bit of that here. Then I don't know if they'll have quite as much fun when they get together for the Democrat convention in August coming up here in a little bit. All right, number 3, Scotty.
I'd say number 3, I know that a lot of our audience is really concerned about the what-ifs related to election integrity and securing the vote. And I don't know that there's been more of a warrior on that front than Mike Lindell. And we spent about 20 minutes with Mike Lindell today walking through it. I mean, he's like the Energizer Bunny. Man, the guy's burned through $40 million. He's living paycheck to paycheck now. Same with his employees. It's an employee-owned company. You could tell how much he cares for them, how much that he realizes that everything has gone into this. And I think a lot of people would think Mike's crazy, or, like Fox News shuns him and some of the networks now shun him. I mean, the man has been a tireless advocate, and he and Donald Trump, likely the 47th President of the United States, are in exactly the same position on how you secure the vote. And he walked us through all of that and brought us inside the challenges of raising those issues and fighting and dying on that hill. So I know folks are concerned about the integrity of the election. They should be. We all should be. But I think if we follow Mike's lead and watch that very closely, we're gonna avoid that sad chapter of the past.
My takeaway number 3 was, I don't know that I have broadcast heroes, but I certainly have people that I enjoy listening to, and people it's fun to meet when you get to meet them in person. I got to meet one of those people today, Sid Rosenberg from WABC Radio in New York City. He got on earlier today with Scotty. I bumped into him. I said, hey, would you come on and talk to some North Dakota guys? He said, absolutely. And he talked about in 2016, he said, I voted for Hillary Clinton.
I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe it.
And he said, I'm kind of embarrassed about it now, but I thought Trump was kind of a bozo and a big talker, and he just I didn't think he was ready for it. But listening to how he has come around to Donald Trump, it was a great story. And if you want to check that out, you can go to AM11 and check out all of our videos, am1100theflag.com. You'll be able to see them all there. But he said, I saw how he attacked the position, and all of his ideas made sense. He wanted to bring back economic prosperity, and I think there's a lesson there that people maybe had to give Donald Trump a chance and see what he did. I think I'm one of those people in a way too. I didn't know if he was taking this job seriously, but he won over a lot of people. And I think a lot of folks kind of in that center kind of position have said, Donald Trump was a really good president. I wouldn't mind seeing him back in there again.
And Sid has known him for 30 years. I mean, they're friends. First name basis. When Sid was big in sports talk radio, Trump would come on all the time and talk about all kinds, Vander Holyfield or Mike Tyson or whatever. So he's known him a long, long time, and now he talks about him. Hey, like if he just does this and he does that, he actually could win New York. Yeah. Now, again, if Donald Trump wins New York in November, this race is a Reagan-like landslide in '84. There's no question about it. And Sid really brought us some very interesting insights, and he's on one of the most iconic radio stations in America, WABC. So it was fun to catch up with him, and all his connections to Don Imus and some great radio. Definitely was fun to talk to him.
You can catch all of our videos. I think we got about 15 of them up there now from all the people we've talked to here over the first couple of days. You can catch that on our YouTube channel or on am1100theflag.com. Want to say,
you know what the best news is?
What's that, Scott?
We're only halfway done with this, baby.
Yeah, that's right. We got 2 more days, and Scotty's even got a show on Friday. So we're just getting started, and we've had an awful lot of fun. So make sure you catch all of our stuff on am1100theflag.com and our YouTube channel as well. Want to say thanks again to our great sponsors, the North Dakota Republican Party, the Brighter Future Alliance, and North Dakota Lignite Energy. Steve Hallstrom, Scott Hennon from the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee saying have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow on am1100theflag.com.
God bless.